Looks like we're live, Kevin. So I'm on the phone.
This is like doing the podcast and being able to let other people see what.
It's a behind the scenes a little bit.
I'm going to open my kimono, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just whilst we wait for some of you to join, hopefully we'll get some interaction from some of you throughout this live. But the purpose of today's live is just to really give a bit more detail about the foundation program. So we launched the foundation program this week on Tuesday, and we've invited 100 founder members to join us for a very, very special discounted launch offer price, which is currently £500, and this is valid until next Wednesday. And we've been getting loads of questions, so we thought we'd just jump on now and just kind of talk about the program for those of you that still want to know a little bit more about it. So let's dive into that. I'm going to keep checking my phone just to see that if we've got any questions and comments. And I can see we've got some comments already. So let's see, who have we got here? Okay, great. All right, well, let's just roll into it. We won't get distracted. But Kevin, let's talk about the foundation program.
Yeah.
I guess let's start by, who's it really aimed for? Who should be joining this program?
Well, look, the simple fact of the matter is we know, and I've said it many times before, that 95% of the population just don't make it to financial independence. And if those of you who studied the levels know that there's a level before that, which is the level of security. So what we're really trying to do here is get an immediate injection to work very proactively with just 100 committed people, not just people interested in wealth building, not people lukewarm about the subject, not 5 out of 10 on the scale, but 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 completely committed. And the reason why that commitment is important is because, I want to give that discount, a huge discount really, and put my reputation on the line to make 100 people get the success so they can measure that self-servingly, so that if they get that success and they share that, this is a program that will, not a course now, so we'll come back to the difference between a course and a program. So we get their result, and reputationally that's what we want, is evidence of people getting to security, building their wealth level by level. So the first group of people, there are 3 groups of people, is aimed at, and by the way, it's not aimed at the drifters. So it's aimed at those people who want to get to that first level of financial security on the journey to financial independence. The second group of people I think it's relevant for is somebody who maybe has already started on the wealth journey and they chose an asset already. They chose a pillar. Maybe they chose property, or maybe they chose to have a business, or they chose something and they're doing well. They're making progress, but they maybe didn't build a great foundation at the beginning. They did something and it's working, but maybe not effectively, because maybe there's a tax issue there, maybe they under-leveraged something, maybe there's a skill they didn't have, maybe there's a connection they didn't have. So for those people who are already building wealth, but would kind of like to lock it in and go, right, actually, did I miss anything? Let's go back, let's rebuild the foundation, let's get them to where they need to get to, look at their debits, look at their wealth dynamic, make sure everything's completely firing on all cylinders. And then they can refocus, often with more money in the pot than they previously had before. And then the third group of people, and I think it's definitely one I'm excited about, right, which is many people who are beginning to see progress themselves or anticipate in the future that what they want to do is maybe help others on the journey to create wealth. They want to be our future wealth coaches, or really just great referrers or ambassadors. Then using the foundation is a way to lock in that knowledge. Then if they're going to share that with someone else, either to get paid or to become a business owner with working with us in coaching the wealth, then that means they've got all the principles already in place. So there's the 3 groups of people that I think it would be useful for. So people at the beginning, people in the middle, and those people who aspire to some form of coaching or some form of helping others very proactively. So it will suit the sort of Blaze dynamic people, and they just know. And I've had so many calls from people saying, how can I help do this, as opposed to how can I just get wealthy on my own.
Yeah, and if you've been listening to the Wealth Talk podcasts and looked at the product page for the foundation program, you'll see this theme of 3 that we've talked about before, which is always education, support and connection. Which is another question that's come up over the last couple of days, is that actually the program is only available right now to purchase at level 2, which is the support level. And
but at the beginner level price, the education level.
That's
price.
right. So actually an opportunity to get in for half price, basically. 50% discount for the first 7 days. So the question is, level 3 connection available? And if it's not available right now, is it something that people can upgrade to in the future?
Yeah, we want to completely be focused on serving these 100 people. So while the program of connecting is already well established, because I'm connecting with people at a much higher level than that, several £1,000s a year. But I don't want to be diverted from that. So yes, people can upgrade if we realise that the core essence of what they need to do is build and make more connections. But that's probably not going to happen in the early part of the program, because getting the foundation right is key. If they need to upgrade or they want to upgrade, we'll carry forward the price they paid and just give them a credit towards it. Yeah. So at any point, and this is the thing about the upgrade, this is not a bump and upsell. We're not trying to sell people up here. What we're saying is, if it's ready for you, if it's right for you rather, we'll know it, you'll know it, and then there's more value to be had. Yeah. Because making connections is an accelerator. Mm-hmm. Now, when you need the connections, and if those connections are valuable to you, then you're going to be worth more. So even though the cost of the program might be more, there's still the double money guarantee anyway. Yeah. So whatever you invest, whether it's £500 or £2,000 or £5,000, wherever people invest money with us, there's always my personal guarantee that unless they get double their money back, absolutely no question about that, they must get double the return. Yeah. So the equivalent of 100% return on investment. Mm-hmm. And that the reason I'm doing that, and how many people out there are willing, they might give a money back guarantee on a piece of material, fair enough. But will they give a guarantee of a result? I don't think anybody's doing that, but I'm willing to do that. 200% money return, or we work with you till you really get there. And if both of us don't agree you're going to make it, yep, it's just not possible to give you money back. Yep. Look, we're in a social media driven world. Yep. You know, what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We know this is happening. So I need to be completely crystal clear, come 100% out of integrity. This works. The process of wealth building works. So don't hesitate with the money. And that's why I wanted to make it irresistible. Yep. But the irresistibility of it must come at a price. And the price for them, price for you, is participation, full on, engagement with us. So we build the program. It's not a course. A course is just a piece of education. And I don't believe that education on its own creates wealth. Because if it did, why would 95% of the population not make it? Because there's enough information out there. Yeah. It's that combination of education plus all the lessons that individuals will learn. So the IP is there, the principles are there, but everybody approaches it differently. You know, and everybody's wealth plan is completely unique and different. Yeah. How I build mine is different from how you build yours. Whoever's on the call, I can't quite see because I've got my glasses on. But, you know, we'll know it's very different to them. So everybody's picture is completely different, but the principles are the same. And that's why we want them to participate and share. So participation, sharing, commitment. If they do those three things, the price is the price. Yep. But only for 100 people. Yep. Right? We can't really go beyond that.
Yeah. And we've already said that the offer is available until Wednesday, so basically midnight, Tuesday next week, and then it's going to increase. So the price will go up to £750. Yeah. For 1 week.
1 more week, yeah.
And then it will go up to its full price, which is the £1,000. Yeah.
So and still the money back guarantee applies, you know, so whether you spend £1,000 and get 2,000 back or 500 and get £1,000 back, it shouldn't actually make any difference. Yeah. But we just want to get that little spark of, you know, make it irresistible at the beginning, Chris, and I think, you know, well, I'm hoping we'll get enough of a good level of good, strong, committed people willing to work with us to shape the program for people to follow, really. Yeah. It's the pioneers we want, you know. Yeah. And not those who want it all lined up. If you need all your ducks lined up now, wait, pay the full price when it's all sorted. Because this is by iteration. We're growing this. And that's why we want people who want to be part of it, and they'll be designated as founders, and they'll be founders forever, and they will be treated royally in how we work with this, you know. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, and we want to be really clear about that. You know, we want to build this program. There's certainly a structure for the next 12 months here, and you can see that on the product page. We've got 4 sections, each with 3 modules. So there's 12 modules in total, all a very step-by-step process, which will walk you through and help you. And of course, at the support level, which is what you can get here, you get bi-monthly calls with a wealth coach, and you're also getting the Q&A webinars as well, which of course are going to provide you with that accountability, which I know is really important to so many people.
Yeah, and you know, the purpose for me being on those calls is to make sure nobody's floundering. You know, there's always going to be bumps on any journey. That's going to happen. You know, you'll get derailed, you get a puncture, something will happen, and I'll be there personally to try and make sure that we can help someone when they get stuck somewhere. Yeah. And that's going to happen. We know that's going to happen, because that's why people stop, right? They get stuck and they go, oh, this is too hard, and they go back. Yeah. And that won't happen. So, you know, if I was anybody serious about building wealth, I'd jump on this.
Yeah. So some other questions that have just come up, and I know some of you are familiar with Wealth Dynamics and you may have already taken your test. Some of you have been listening to the podcasts and you've already gone through the debits process. So there's some elements that you may already think, I've already done this. But really what's the outcome of this program is to teach you how to turn the wheel, to go through that 5-step process and generate some recurring income from a pillar.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get too caught up on those who've done Wealth Dynamics. There's an additional token, you know, that can be given away to somebody else, or, you know, you can give it to a spouse. The Wealth Dynamic, but of course, you know, most people who've done the Wealth Dynamic haven't had a full debrief. Mm-hmm. They don't really understand the essence of not just the label, you know, creator or supporter or deal maker or whatever. You know, it's the balance of the 4 frequencies. So by reading the 4 frequencies, it helps us understand how best for you to focus, and then how best to get that help and support and connections when you're ready for the connections. So it's a kind of it's a sort of different, more in-depth reading of your Wealth Dynamic. And debits is an easy process, really, and everybody will approach it in the same way. But that's just about shoring up leaks and making sure that there's some money found somewhere. But, you know, one of the things that will happen, 100 people doing debits, we're going to find more debits, we're going to find more ways to find money, and then that's going to feed back in. So even if you've done it yourself, there'll be other opportunities. But it's, in essence, whether you found any money in your debits process or not, the essence of wealth building isn't there, because you cannot save your way to wealth. I've said that many times. You expand your means to wealth, which means understanding the pillars, understanding the right pillar for you, understanding the 5 elements of the wheel of wealth and how to turn that more effectively.
I was just going to share the screen here. Hopefully everyone can see this if I scroll through here. So what we're talking about here, you've got your 12 modules. So it all begins with really getting clear on your catalyst, your reason why. And then,
and people can do that on their own. You know, it's not part of the program. But we can help pull it out of them if they don't know it. But it's just something to say, this is an integral step. It doesn't cost anything to do the step, but it's an important thing for us to know, because it connects us deeply with people, and that's what we're trying to do here.
That's right. And we said that there's a couple of things which, you know, you need to know, and they will be kind of your cornerstones, which is knowing your why, your wealth dynamics. These are things.
And that's unchanging. You know, you need to do that no matter what. So whether you engage in this program or whether you don't, you know, understand your reason why, do your wealth dynamic. If possible, do it with a debrief. Don't just do it because you can read and go, yeah, that's me. But it's what you do with it that's more important. The rest of the things is a repeatable, revolving process that just goes round, builds wealth, ka-ching, goes round again, builds more wealth, cash or capital, goes round again. And these are the elements beyond that initial starting point. And that's what to focus on, not the easy bits. So don't worry if you've done those bits before. The juice and the real values to come from the latest.
And let's just have a quick look at that. So, you know, the first 3 modules here is getting clear on where you are on the 5 wealth levels as well. And that's
kind of easy as well, isn't it? You know, if you've got if you don't have enough recurring income to give up the job, you're at insecurity level. It's not it doesn't cost anything to find that out. It's not part of the program, but it's a step in the program in order to establish, are you clear where you are? Now, the reason why some people maybe don't know what that is they maybe not looked at their outgoings enough to say, well, hey, I'm earning $5,000 a month, say, but I could live on 3, and then that would give me, if I had $3,000, the ability to give up the day job or change the dynamic with the day job. Instead of working 60 hours a week, I could do that on 30 hours, or I could work 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week, and then commit much more to wealth. Because the real value of wealth is, it's not being paid for 5 weeks and then, it's not working for 5 weeks and getting a check, working another 5 weeks, get a check. It's working hard for 3 to 5 years and getting paid forever.
Yeah.
And that's the skill, that you cannot do this by doing this in a sort of I'll grab a half an hour here or a podcast there, or I'll read my wealth dynamic here, or I'll do this there. It's a program you have to immerse yourself in.
Yeah. I can see we just had a question come through from, I can't see the name, I'm sorry about that, but I can see your question. So the offer is for £500 plus VAT for a week, and then the price goes up next Wednesday. But someone's saying, what happens when we reach 100 people before the week? So we've not hit the 100 yet, so I don't think it's something we need to...
I think I wouldn't be worried about that. So if I would say this, if within the next period of time, what is the Tuesday, we don't want to get too semantic about this. We want 100 committed people.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to test the commitment. So one of the questions, there's a questionnaire that we'll send to you, and we need to know you're going to play at full level. So there are 2 tests. One, actually 3. One, are you committed to wealth? Mm-hmm. 2, are you going to play and want to be involved in working with us as opposed to just doing stuff on your own? And 3, would you rather have a great value and a discount now, or do you want to wait and pay a bit more? Yeah, that's your call. I'm not really worried about it, but what we won't do is we won't just keep, a discount offering forever, because, the idea is just to get people focused here. Because if in the absence of a catalyst, a really strong burning reason why, sometimes the catalyst is, actually, this is great value. Let's just do it. So, and that's where the sort of tempo energy kicks in.
Yeah. And we haven't actually thanked everyone who has already joined us. So, obviously we extend gratitude to those of you that are already on board. And it's been a fantastic couple of days. Lots and lots of conversations and lots of questions. Hence why we thought we'd jump on here and answer some of those. So just going through the modules, in case anyone, if you've not seen exactly what's included, then let's talk just a little bit about module 6, which is creating leverage, and the first model.
Yeah.
So how can this help someone to identify, which of these 7 pillars is the right one for me?
Well, the first process of creating leverage is to identify what's your best and most obvious source of leverage to get the biggest impact now. Mm-hmm. So if we know that a lever is getting more for less, we need to know what's going to get you more right now. And the way you have to do that is look at yourself and your wealth dynamic and your time. So you have to look at all the different levers that you can pull in the 5 areas of financial, intellectual, relationship, systems, and time, and look at that and discuss that. And then from that, it should become obvious what one of the first 1 or 2 pillars that would be useful to look at. Mm-hmm. But for example, if somebody says, well, I really like property, well, that's one huge market which encompasses maybe 12 different tactics within the property strategy. So, if somebody says, well, I'm working 60 hours a week and I'm commuting an hour a week, all unpaid, and I'd like to do this high level property strategy, well, it's not going to be for them, is it? Because they won't have the time to be able to commit to doing it. So you've got to try and balance out all the points of leverage with what they understand about the pillars. And of course, part of the process is to teach them how all the different pillars could work. Yep. Knowing that we've helped literally, thousands of people over the course of the years, and we know what other people have found that, like, for example, you started thinking one area would be your wealth plan, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And then you got a little bit of an insight into it and go, whoa, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. So, getting into that.
And I can say for sure, without having made the decision, taken action, and taken those first steps, without going through that process, you don't know.
You don't know.
And that opens up so many new doors along the way of new connections, new ideas, and so many of the connections I made, now are valuable in different ways.
Yeah.
So there's always positives to be taken from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. So each pillar will be There'll be more that you don't know about the pillars, as
Yep.
well as some things you automatically know, like some of the simple things. For example, when we talk to people about the pensions pillar, more often than not, they don't understand what their choices are. So they wouldn't choose the pension as an automatic way to build wealth. But once they understand there's just different things you can do with your pension, and how you can use that, not to build wealth when you're in your 60s, but how you could turn that into money now. And I have loads of conversations with people saying, what, you can actually use your pension today, and the value you've got, you can create income today. And they don't know that's possible, but it is. But it isn't possible if you don't know how. So that's why the interaction is critical, which is why we haven't just created a educational kind of a course that lets loose to people, because it'd be just too complicated to give all the options, because there's a myriad of opportunities, and we have to talk to people to be able to zero in on that, which is why we did this slightly upside down.
Yes, typically you might think you have a course, you can just dive in and just do it all yourself, and then there might be a membership aspect after
right.
that.
But I understand that if you're a course seller, but we're not a course seller, we're a wealth building firm. So we work on the wealth of our members, and that's the outcome we want, and we never know how that wealth's going to take shape, and neither do they actually. So you have to be prepared and be willing to change. Wealth is transformational, both of self and money. It's not just of money. And everybody changes. You changed, I changed. I don't know anybody who's gone through the process who hasn't fundamentally come out a different person, often doing things they thought they wouldn't do because they didn't know what was possible, or they didn't know what they didn't like, which is just as important, about an area they thought they'd go down, but it's actually not for them, when they really understood their wealth dynamic. And when they went to speak to somebody else who's doing that and go, that doesn't feel like me. Now I understand it more. Yeah,
and it's often said, isn't it? It's not so much about reaching the destination, it's who you become along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I can see Ashley Wong, these are your questions coming through, so thank you. So I'm just going to answer the next one. Is there an interview process with the first 100, founder members? And the answer is yes, in a way, because we are asking you to show your level of commitment, and that's part of the sign-up process. And if we can see that there's some doubts on that, then absolutely, we're going to have that conversation with you and just see, is there a reason why you don't feel fully committed, and is there anything we can do to help you to kind of get up to that 9 or 10?
Yeah, but in truth, we can't really invite people into the program who are not willing to play at a full out level. If you want to spectate, please watch. Please watch from the bleachers or watch from the sidelines. Watch other people, see them create their wealth, and get all the evidence you need. Great. If you want to play, though, you want to be in the game, shaping the game with us, being part and a founder member of what we're about, is we have a journey to reach 50,000 people, and the first 100 are going to be very key in giving us the feedback of what works, what doesn't work, instead of me just doing it, with individuals on their own paying much higher fees. So we're trying to bring this to the masses rather than simply me focus on dealing with very high income families and maintaining the wealth of kind of already well established people. It's critical for me to get this right, and that's why 100 great people is better than 5,000 mediocre people. So you're not going to let anybody through that's not playing full on now, Chris.
No, you can be sure of that, Ashley, and that's been tremendous feedback that we've had, is the opportunity to work with you, Kevin, and have that support through this program for the price that it's at is an offer that doesn't come along very often.
And actually, that raises a question which I don't think anybody's asked overtly, but probably somebody has, maybe even subliminally, that is this too good to be true? Because usually they'll say if something sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. I think it's pretty damn good, but there is a commitment, there is an expectation. And the expectations, I've said, and I'll say again and again and again, at least for the next week, is you need to be in the game. You need to be working with us. So you need to be able to and be willing to help us shape it, not just to accept that it's all done and then criticize something that's not there yet. Because not everything can be there yet. because wealth is a complicated process. The IP and the principles are locked down, established, and have worked for years. You know, I've done it, I've taught it, it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't not work, it works every time. But what we haven't got is the actual step-by-step process that each individual person takes. If you look at some of the people who are already starting to show themselves as stars in what we're doing, you know, they're showing what they're doing now using the power of technology to save money and use that money in different ways. I didn't do that 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So, you know, we need the people today bringing different skills, use of technology, different collaborations in a way that I didn't do, but they're still using the same principles.
Yeah. So I just want to say hi, Teo. Good to have you, Teo Van Dort, watching.
All right.
And Steve Clark, you have a question for us, which is just what's the deal with the community? What's the plan? So it's a really good question, and we will be creating a separate private group for founder members. So we'll be doing that on Facebook, simply because that just seems to be the most convenient place for people.
Yeah.
But we've actually been discussing this morning about the community aspect, and we're going to be creating some member profiles as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
So that it's easy for founder members to see exactly who else is part of the program, and to see what their interests are in terms of which assets they're working, wealth dynamics.
What their wealth dynamic is.
Really important that you connect and you build your entrepreneurial team based on the wealth dynamics. So absolutely, that's the plan for the community.
You know, and that's another point, though, that wouldn't be obvious, right? So I know some people said, I've paid for my wealth dynamic, I've done my wealth dynamic, you know, why would I do that again? Well, don't do it again. But when you're seriously building wealth, and we know that wealth building is about adding value, and best way to add value is to see yourself as an entrepreneur. And no entrepreneur ever works on their own. So when you see the value you bring, and then how you, with your wealth dynamic, with your 4 levels, your 4 different frequencies, how you then can tune in to somebody else. Like we're working well together, right? But because you're getting stuff done that I just didn't know how to do. I remember, you know, Teo was brilliant when, you know, he first started talking to me about using video. You know, he's brilliant at what he does. If people don't know Teo Van Dort, go look him up. He's just a master of his craft. But, you know, you need these good people to help you do something that you don't have the skill set for. And often it's the wealth dynamic that gives the clue. So if you're a founder member, you'll know your wealth dynamic. You'll know how to seek out the wealth dynamics of other people where you've got a different need over in a different area where perhaps you're not as strong, so you concentrate on your strengths and then you collaborate with others. Yeah,
definitely. So I think we should probably look at bringing this to a close pretty soon, because we don't want to take up too much of people's time. A couple of questions that have just come in, so I want to answer these. Louise, welcome to the program. You know, good to have you on board. Just checking in, when's the start date and the length of the program?
That's a tricky one. I mean, the start date will be
next week.
Once we decide that we're going to start, putting together the package of getting people connected and start having conversations. But you know, each individual work through their own pace. Now, we know that some people out there are time poor, and we actually created 12 modules deliberately, right? So you know, we wasn't shoehorning them, but it was saying, look, there are 12 different modules, so that if you follow the principles that I've been preaching for years and years and years, and some of you may have picked up from the podcast, which is never let 30 days go by without doing something significant. I don't mean insignificant like read a book, but do something very positive about building your wealth. So the very least we would expect people to do is at least complete one of the modules in a month. But frankly, that's not going to happen. It's going to happen in weeks, isn't it? So I would expect that people will get through the initial bit very quickly, but you know, wealth is a revolving program. As you'll discover that the first 2 elements of the wealth dynamic and your reason why are pretty static. You don't really change them very much. You might reconnect with your reason why, or you might review your wealth dynamic, but not very often, because you are who you are. But the remaining steps are just revolving steps. So you know, we'll be reassessing things after 12 months, but some people will have turned 3-4 wheels maybe. You know, made a major step up towards that security level. Others might have only turned 1 wheel. But each wheel turn, each asset you choose could make a very small contribution to your wealth, just enough to pay for some of your bills, or it might massively impact on it. We just don't know where it's going to go. So I'd say assume it's 12 months.
Well, certainly the fee is for a 12-month membership. Yeah. So it's a 12-month membership, which obviously that's an annual renewal. But as Kevin says, once you've turned one wheel and you're generating income, then it's like, how many wheels do you want to turn? And we'll help you in those different pillars to understand how to do that.
And, essentially each turn of the wheel, if you've seen the videos, it when it revolves full circle and you have to not cheat the wheel, you have to go around the full circle of it: education, support, connection, due diligence, and guided action. If you turn the wheel completely, it will almost always and every time, unless you stop because you learn something that says, hey, this isn't for me, particularly in the due diligence stage. That sometimes happens, and you have to expect that to happen, honestly, that you might get to a place and say, actually, I'm assessing this and it won't work.
Yeah.
But you change in that process, and then you start another wheel. So that, every time, if you turn it successfully, it will throw off either a flow of cash or an instant injection of capital.
Yeah.
One of the two, maybe even both, but usually one or the other. So each time you turn it, you're generating something, either more cash, more capital, more cash, more capital, and just the impact of each wheel you turn will determine how fast you get from insecurity to security, from security to independence, and then beyond that. But so everybody's going to go at a different pace, and we're not judging that. There's no race here. There's no prizes. It's a journey, and but it needs to be reassessed at the end of 12 months, just because it's a convenient place to do that. And rather than charge people from a turn of the wheel, that would be kind of a bit odd. We just thought we'd do it on a year. It won't renew next year at 500 quid.
No. This is a special launch offer, the £500, and when you join now as a founder member, the annual renewal will be at the standard price for
whatever it is at the
level,
time. It's currently
for the level that you wish to continue at.
Yeah, it's currently 1,000, but if you're not generating a massive return on your investment, remember the double money back guarantee, then we'll carry on working with you and you can work for free.
Yeah.
Or if you don't like it, you're really not enjoying it, you're not building your wealth, you think the principles are wrong for any reason, I'll just give you your money back. And I'm on video saying, I'll just give you your money back. And I'll say it again, I'll just give you your money back.
Yeah.
The results are what counts. It's not about what we keep, it's how it works. Because this investment in 100 people is to get us on a pathway to 50,000. It's not to make 100 people pay 500 quid. That's neither here nor there in the context of this. This is you and I, ourselves, putting our full effort into this to try and build a relationship with 100 people who will be the game changers for wealth in the future. So please, if you feel like you're that kind of person, join in. If you don't think it's you, give it 12 months. Wait and see what other people are doing and join later. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just seeing some questions coming in, hence why I'm just scrolling through just to try and help answer some of these questions as well here. So Ashley, you're asking, do you become part of a group that will support and encourage you? The answer is yes. We've already said about a private Facebook group just for founder members. So those of you that commit and join as a founder member, you will all be within your own private group. So you'll be able to really make yourself acquainted with one another. And you've also asked Ashley about, is there a structure? Well, I've put it on the screen here, so hopefully you can see there that yes, you've got the 12 modules which are contained within our private membership site. Now, we're going to be growing this as we work through the program with you. So with your feedback and questions, this program is going to evolve, and you'll also get the 6 calls with a wealth coach. So every couple of months, you're going to check in one-to-one with the wealth coach. You're getting a debrief of the wealth dynamics as well after you've taken the test. And then we've also got the bi-monthly Q&A webinar as well, which Kevin will be on. So yes, there is absolutely structure for the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then final question, I think, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah. It's just from Caldit, and she's asking around the SaaS. And I know we've got a lot of, obviously, people in the community who are either in the process of setting up a SaaS. And Caldit's question is, I'm looking to use WealthBuilders to set up my SaaS. Yeah. Do any of the modules cross over with the 7-step SaaS program that's offered?
No, they don't.
Okay.
And the reason they don't is because once you get to a place where you've decided a SaaS is the right thing for you, that's a unique turn of the wheel all on its own. But you've got to pay money in order to get HMRC approval. You have to do a whole range of due diligence steps, which are way beyond the scope of the principal. But certainly, if somebody was in a foundation program and they had a pension, we'd be asking them to think about whether or not a SaaS might be an effective wheel turn for them. Yeah. So they turn the wheel on their own. You will turn the wheels on your own. So, for example, if step one in any wheel turn is education, and let's say you're new to property, and you decide property education, you're going to use a course seller, let's say. We'll tell you in the program why that's not always the best thing to do. But let's say you did that, then you pay for the education and the way you want to pay for it. So what this is doing is just trying to make sure that is it the right course for you? Is it the right way to do it, as I mentioned a moment ago? So it doesn't connect to the Wealth Builder SaaS program, which is very unique and special all on its own, but it will complement it because it will help once you've got a SaaS. Remember, a SaaS is just a vehicle. You've then got to turn all those wheels in the vehicle to power you forward. So this will help people get to a faster place because actually you'll be working with me, and I created the SaaS program together with my colleague Paul Brooks, and so I understand fully how SaaSes work. Having a SaaS myself and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people with SaaSes, I'll bring that knowledge to the bi-monthly Q&As anyway for anybody who's got a SaaS who wants to know how they can accelerate it.
Yeah. So anyone thinking about engaging with SaaS or is in the process already, this program definitely is a good combination. It's
a complement. It's not a replacement. Paul and his team on that program won't talk to you about the wheel as it relates to your wealth. Won't talk about your wealth dynamic. Won't talk about those things in any great detail anyway. They want to know what your wealth dynamic is, just so they know how best you process and receive information. But I would say if in doubt, give me a call. Just reach out to me personally, and we'll work out something to make sure you don't feel like we're trying to have someone pay twice. That's never the case.
Yeah, and if you're watching now, if you have any questions at all, then you can email me, membership@wealthbuilders.co.uk. I'll get that. I'll respond to it straight away. If we need to get Kevin involved to answer those questions, we will do. And I think it's just worth ending. I'm just scrolling through the page here. Once again, let's just remind everyone, you can see 200% money back guarantee.
Whoa,
here.
Where did that come from?
That's serious stuff.
Yeah. Why did I do that? Well, I did it because I know it works. Simple. And so it works in the hands of committed people, and it only works. So therefore, I'm willing for myself and my IP to be tested by anybody who's committed. So here's what I think. If anybody's committed to building wealth and they follow the principles that we share, they cannot help but build wealth. It's impossible not to. So consequently, I don't think I'll ever be called out on it. But frankly, if somebody did and they just, you're always going to get somebody who'll say, well, I don't think it's working for me. That's fine. You can have your money back. I'm not worried about it because you just won't be in the program. We won't be connected to you. We won't be engaging with you. We won't be connecting you to other people either. You won't be in the community. And that's going to mean your wealth will be a lot slower. Yeah. So I'll take the risk with anybody who wants to play a game. But for those who want to play the game, full on, full out, engaged, they will create wealth. And my guarantee is double the value of your investment. In other words, if you spend 500 in this case, right? If you don't get £1,000 worth of value, we'll work with you. You can stay in the program for free until you sign off on that value. If you spend £5,000 with me in another program, which we're not advertising here, you get £10,000 worth of value. Otherwise, I will work with you personally until you do. So it's never a challenge for me because I know it will work as long as people do their part of it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to stand up and be counted. And how many trainers and how many people who are out there in the world of wealth will give a guarantee? Will your IFA give you a guarantee of a result? No. Will your fund manager give you a guarantee of a result? No. Will your trainer on a course that you buy, wherever you might buy it, give you a guarantee of the result? No, they won't. But I will because I know it works.
Yeah. So if you're sitting on the fence, if you're still unsure, hopefully that is enough reason that you simply cannot lose out here. You've everything to gain. And
here's a thought. Not paying money is bad news. If you're going to get double your money, why not put the price? Let's put the price up, because then you're going to get twice the value.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we do that another day?
Well, we'll do
after
that
a
on
week.
Wednesday. We'll do that on Wednesday. So remember that we're inviting 100 founder members. We'd love for you to be one of our founder members. If you join before Wednesday next week, you will join at the £500 50% discount price. After from Wednesday next week, that will go up to £750 plus VAT, and then 1 week later the price will go up to the £1,000. So if you're thinking about it right now, just go for it, and if you need to ask us some more questions, drop us a message through Facebook. You can message me, membership@wealthbuilders.co.uk. You just drop me a message, we can jump on the phone, answer, put your mind at rest. But hey, just take some action, be a dynamic, don't be a drifter.
Yeah, or a DIYer.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you. We had a thank you comment from Called It. You're welcome, Called It.
Yeah.
Wow, we've done 40 minutes here.
Really? You said we had 20 minutes.
I thought 15, 20 minutes, that'll do it. But hey.
It's like the podcast, you just have a bit of fun. And this is exactly how we work on the podcast. We just riff together with a microphone. But look, I don't want to take anybody's time. It's kind of a lunchtime thing. Yeah. I'm sure they were grabbing lunch on the rat race here, probably some of them.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you inside the founders members area. And we're going to wrap this up. And if you're watching on the replay, please do leave some comments and questions. We'll definitely dive in and answer those for you. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. See you.